welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Tina Avery. Thank you so much for joining us. So there are many different groups that happen in the community. There are groups that support other groups. There are groups that support community members. There are groups that, you know, bolster and bring awareness to different subjects. There are some groups that are just meant for younger people in our lives that really do a lot for self-confidence, self-building, that lovely, amazing feeling that you get of being a part of something. Joining me today, we have Darlene and Sarah from the Girl Guides. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
So, Darlene, tell me a little bit about what the Girl Guides are and what it's all about.
So Girl Guides is an international organization for girls and women. In Canada, it is from one coast to the other, starting with girls that are 4, and then by the time they're 18, they can choose to be members of, you know, a connection group when they're in university or college and move right into being leaders. And we have adult members right up into their 80s.
Oh my goodness, see, I didn't even know that here. I thought it was all about the younger people of the world. And I was actually a brownie many moons ago, and we're not going to talk about how old I was and how long ago that was, but it's an amazing thing. So talk about some of the things that the Girl Guides do, Sarah. Tell them, what do they do?
So we have weekly meetings, and those start right with our SK girls, senior kindergarten, and those go right up until they're in grade 12. And we're chunked into Sparks, and then we have our Brownie Embers. We have Guides, Pathfinders, and Rangers. And those are all, they do different things. So our little ones are crafts and day camps, and they have visits from the zoo and all that kind of fun stuff. But right up to our Rangers, where they go on international trips, and we have girls in our own community who are traveling to Europe this summer and doing all kinds of amazing things.
Well, that is phenomenal. I mean, there's so many things to do now. I need to ask, do they still get badges for achievements?
Oh, absolutely.
I remember my sash and being so proud of when I would get my badge and get my mom to sew it on for me.
Yeah, so we still have our badge program. They revamp the badges every few years, and we're still working with the sort of newest version.
Okay.
And they're beautiful, and they're great, and they're like diamond shape, and the kids love them.
Okay, so let's talk about Darlene, tell me about some of the things that the kids actually do in these groups. Like, I mean, I know you mentioned crafts and travel and that sort of thing, but...
So the program has multiple areas that are like personal well-being and friendships, outdoor sections, science, technology, engineering, art, about self-identity and gender and how to make friendships and keep friendships. Sort of also it goes into building skills, like, you know, around the house or out in the environment, and you know how to use a hammer and those kinds of things as well. So the program is very general in these areas, with lots of ideas. The program for leaders now is online with hundreds of activities that the leader can choose. You know, 8 to 10 activities under each one, and the girls earn the badges. There's additional challenge badges in all kinds of areas, and people are very motivated to do lots for a badge.
Yeah, like I just remember the excitement and the proud feeling you have, and that's one of the things that I think, this is why I believe that groups like the Girl Guides are so important, is like that self-awareness, you know, building your own self-esteem, that sort of thing. But you ladies, I'm going to ask the question to both of you. Why are the Girl Guides important?
I think that, speaking for myself, I was a really shy little girl. I was put into Brownies with a recommendation from a friend. And it built self-confidence, and I was able to pursue a lot of different things that I definitely wouldn't have been able to. It taught me to have these sort of skills. I had a group of women who collectively were able to teach me from all different realms of this world, right? When you're just with parents, even family, you tend to only have the skills that they have, but I was able to work with women from all different walks of life and develop those skills, and I hope that, you know, in being a leader, I can provide that to young girls as well.
Well, I think it speaks volumes to the fact that you started in Brownies, and now you're leading. That speaks volumes to the things that you learn, the camaraderie of the people that you grew up with doing it, and the people that you're helping to teach new things to and making these arrangements for. I think that speaks volumes. Darlene, why is it important?
I think that there's great value in coming together as a group. And in every group, they learn new skills. They develop skills they already have and learn self-reliance. You know, if you're going to camp, you have to pack your own bag that's checked by the adult in your life. But, you know, then when you're at camp, you're in charge of your own gear, and knowing where your toothbrush is really important. And so, you know, that piece of it, and then that confidence when they're going to go and help another friend in the unit or a little one, if they're traveling together, then that brings great confidence as well.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's just it's a wonderful community group that also comes out into the community to do some events as well. So let's talk about some of the things that they do other than the regular weekly meetings.
So most recently we've been in our cookie selling season, so you've probably seen us around town, lots of grocery stores and door-to-door sales, and so that's one of our big community outreach programs. We've just had our self-care drive-through, so some of our guides in the town got together and decided that this was an important thing, so they were looking for all kinds of products that they could donate to local shelter, and so there's just different outreach things that we're doing. Yeah, and I think, and I've talked about this a lot on the show, and there's something about giving back to the community, no matter your age, that gives you that warm, happy, fuzzy feeling. And I think it's a really important thing for kids to get the opportunity to do.
Yes.
Because it sets a tone almost for, you know, always thinking about other people.
It is. It's looking at other people, and I know that a lot of groups regularly collect and donate to Choices. And this year we had a huge challenge that we focused on Ronald McDonald House in 2 separate cities, and girls learned about it and collected items, and they were donated.
Yeah, and I think too, it's not just about, it's great to learn new skills, and it's really important to do that, but it's creating an awareness and making younger people and older people aware of things that they didn't even know were there, and enriching their lives, but in turn enriching somebody else's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our organization runs off of volunteers, right? We're all volunteers, all of the people in the units. So I think that warm, fuzzy feeling hopefully passes on right to our girls, and they see that at our meetings and our camps and all those fun things that we get to do with them.
So tell me, how does someone get involved? Like, how do they get their children, or how do they become involved if maybe somebody wants to be a leader and has never been involved?
That's a perfect next outline, because it is run on volunteerism, and always we are needing more people. And so from the little ones that are sparks, that are, you know, 4 and 5, right up to the girls that are older, we're always looking for women that are 18 and over to come and volunteer. It could be every other week, it could be sometimes, and currently we have a great need for people to help with the little ones, with Sparks and with Pathfinders.
Okay. So what age group is Pathfinders? What do we get into when we're a Pathfinder?
So Pathfinders, they're fun. They're a good group. They start at 11, 12.
Okay.
They all turn 12 before the new year, and they go right up until they are 14.
Okay.
So it's grades 7 through 9. And they're a great group. That's where the independence starts to build, right? Once they hit Rangers, it's kind of on them. So it's sort of like leading them over to those next experiences, like how do we get things organized. They run their own camps with the support of us, and they make lists, and it's a great age group, and lots of change happens in their lives, and they're off to high school, and lots of questions, and yeah.
So let's talk about the Rangers, because they're the older age range.
Yes.
Like what do they get into? Like what are they all about?
So they are really into, and it depends on the unit, because it really is girl driven.
Okay.
So our current Rangers are very into community outreach. They want to be with the younger branches. They want to go in, show their faces, and work with the younger girls and show them what big girls in guiding look like. We have very academically driven girls right now that are bright and that are working toward universities and colleges and pursuing their careers. So that's just an interesting aspect of Ranger life. They love to camp, and we have one obviously going on a big trip, so she's selling lots and lots of cookies to try and save up for that, and is off to Europe with another group from from girls across Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not only a matter of meeting, your select group. Like when you're getting to that age, you're able to go out and meet guides from all over.
Yeah, and not just even Canada, all across the world, right? We have world centers that girls get to go visit in countries across the globe.
Amazing. So by selling the cookies, they're raising money for that specific individual for their trip. But how does it normally work for the cookies? Does that money just get put back into the Girl Guides, or
So there's a very specific ratio that a certain amount of it goes nationally, and it supports the infrastructure that we have nationally, and then some of it goes provincially. Some of that goes towards outdoor experiences for girls. Some of it is set aside for girls in financial need, and then a piece of it also comes to the unit.
Okay. So that's amazing. So let's talk about that, the cost that's involved in becoming a Girl Guide. Like, is there like a set cost for the year, or is that how that works?
Yeah, so there's a set cost right at the beginning of the year for all girl members. Here in Ontario, the adult memberships are all covered, so they pay for police records checks and all of that kind of stuff for us. And then there's also uniform costs, so you just have to order their little blue t-shirts, and then you're good to go.
Okay, I was just going to say, so what is the uniform? Because back in the day, I was wearing like a little brown skirt and a brown shirt and my sash, and and brown is, well, I guess it is my color, but at the time I was mortified. I was like, I don't want to wear brown. I was just little. I was like, but yeah. So that is basically the shirt that they wear?
Yeah, so they've streamlined the uniform in recent years. So the t-shirt is standard from our littlest ones right up until you're an adults. And it's a blue t-shirt with our white trefoil on the front and a big white trefoil on the back. And then they can match their scarf to their branch, so a little pink scarf for Sparks, right up to a red scarf for the Rangers.
Amazing. So we've got about a minute left, so I want to make sure we touch on this. So if somebody's never been a brownie ember and they're hearing about this, can they just leap into whatever age group they're like? Do they have to come up through everything?
No.
They don't have to go through. Certainly, excuse me, they can go to girlguides.ca. They can find a unit by putting in, the name of their town or their postal code, and it will bring up all of the units available. See what day or night of the week, and there's also options if you want to ask questions.
Amazing, amazing. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing all this wonderful information.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
It was my pleasure. And don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.